This is Assistant Professor Sanandi, and here we are meeting again to understand the fourth part of report writing. So, let us just begin. So, students, in our previous lecture we have already understood that what are various parts and how exactly the report is formed. We talked about the introductory part, the prefatory part, we talked about the main and the body part of the report, and we talked about the appended part. So, now we have already talked about that whenever we are writing the report, what main parts are to be put in the report. So, today what we are going to do, the agenda of this lecture that you are going to watch is how we are going to plan the report. Now, report planning, students, is a very intricate topic. Now, if I tell you the bridge between confusion and clarity is communication, alright. So, if you can communicate your reader well, and yes, here I am talking about the written communication. Students, report, as we all know, is a form of written communication, alright. So, if we are communicating through writing in a very clear manner, then the whole purpose of writing the report is fulfilled. So, today we are going to understand that what is report planning, why we need to plan before writing a report, what are the stages involved in writing the report, how exactly are we going to start for writing the report, and how exactly are we going to end. So, we are following a process, students. Under that process we are going to understand that what are the steps that we need to follow while we are writing the report. We are going to understand the planning stage, we are going to understand the planning and the data collection stage, the organizing stage, the first draft stage, the checking and redrafting, and what are the different kind of visual aids or visual representation that can be used in order to make our report very effective. So, students, let us understand that what is report planning. As you all know, what is a report? Yes, as you have already understood, report is a document which is the result of an investigation. So, a proper document that has been analyzed and which is exactly the result of an investigation that is being done in a very clear manner, applying certain kind of statistical tool, by analyzing, by undertaking certain kind of research. When you present it, it becomes the report. It is a very objective document and there is less or no scope for subjectivity. A very clear and a very concise document which actually unfolds a lot of areas that are required to solve the problem and the recommendations that are being made. Why the planning is important? Planning is important because, students, you cannot write the report right away. If I think I need to write the report, I start writing the report. No, I cannot do that. My report is to be presented to some major sources in the management or to my faculty or the university examiner that are going to come. So, I need to make sure that my report is accurate, my report is logical, it is following a very logical order, it is clear, it is concise, and it is well organized. As I have already explained, concise means communicating in minimum possible words, but yes, without missing any kind of information, which is very effective. So, moving on, whenever we are actually planning to write a report, we need to answer certain questions for ourselves. What are these certain questions going to do, students? They are going to set our mind or tone our mind in a manner that we are going to write the report in a very coherent manner. It is going to orient our mind, because, student, always remember that you are writing the report not for yourself, but for your readers. Whenever I am writing something for my readers, I need to take care of my readers' interest. So, whenever I talk about readers' interest, I need to make sure that my report is organized in a manner where the reader is able to understand my report. If I read my report, I am able to understand, none of the big achievement in that, but if I write my report and my reader is able to relate to my report and understand my report, that is an achievement, and that is how we are going to write a very effective report. So, certain questions to be answered in this arena is, number one, who is the report written for? Who is going to be my reader? Students, as I just informed you, report has to be reader oriented. So, first of all you have to see who are going to be your audience. If I am working in a corporate and I am solving a particular problem, as you all know, post the Industrial Revolution 4.0, there are a lot of arenas that have been introduced in the market. It is big data, it is machine learning. So, if I am working in the IT industry, I have to understand that if I am solving a particular problem, who is going to be my audience, who is going to read my report. According to my reader, I have to make sure that my report is written in the reader's orientation, so that my reader can understand my report. So, you have to ask this question to yourself, who is the report written for, who is going to be the primary audience of the report, why has the report been written, what is the reason, were you facing certain kind of problem, are you solving some kind of gap that is existing in the industry, are you solving the major challenge that has emerged in the industry due to certain technological interventions. So, you need to make sure that why is the report written. Then you have to take care of how is the report relevant to the readers. Is the report giving the up to date relevant information that is required in today's world, or is it just a basic report that is included and that is being read by the people. So, you need to make sure that how is the report relevant to the readers. Also take care of the timelines in this particular part, that is the report relevant and up to date in today's time. Students, if I tell you an example, pre-COVID and post-COVID, a lot of things have changed. So, writing a pre-COVID report and writing a post-COVID report again is going to be a challenge. Certain elements like digital efficacy have been introduced in the skill set that is required by the corporate. So, if you had written a report previously on employability skill, that was different. If the report you have written now, that is different, because the elements are going to be different. That is why you have to take care that how is the report relevant to the reader, is it following the necessary timelines and the necessary trends. That is what you need to take care of. Why is the report to be read? Reader को क्या फ़ायदा होगा अगर वो ये report पढ़ेगा? Why is the report to be read? Is the report giving specific kind of a solution to a problem so that the reader must read your report? So, of course, you need to take care that why is this report to be read? What will be the readers doing with this information? What exactly the readers would be solving? What value addition would readers make in their knowledge or in their problem or solution orientation when they are reading this report? What are the topics covered and what are the recommendations or the outcomes of this particular report? So, before starting a report, always ask these questions, write certain kind of points, brainstorm and then start writing the report. So, students, let us now understand that while we are writing the report, how are we going to answer those questions that I mentioned in the previous slide. First of all, students, these are the stages that we need to take care of when we are writing a report. I am taking you to the first stage, which is called planning stage. After that, I will take you to the data collection stage, the organizing stage, the first draft stage, the checking and the redrafting. Again, whenever we are following a certain process, after following the certain process, it has to be put in the parts that we have talked about in my previous lecture. So, students, coming to the planning stage. Now, the planning stage involves planning and gathering the information that is to be put in the report in a coherent manner. So, if I talk about gathering the information, you need to gather certain kind of facts which are factually correct, right. Facts, as the word suggests, are the truth. It is the figure that is exactly true and that is exactly authentic, that people can bank upon. That is why it needs to be factually correct. Also, the figures are required to be transcribed correctly. So, whenever you are gathering information, you need to take care that your information is relevant, it is up to date information, it is not obsolete information, because students, we are living in a dynamic world. The paradigm is shifting every day. The information that was very relevant yesterday holds no significance today. That is why you need to make sure that the information that you are providing in your report, the data that you are gathering, has to be up to date as well as authentic and true. Moving on students, once you gather the information, what is going to be the next step? The next step is going to be the data collection. Now you have gathered a particular larger arena of information that you require. Now you are going to collect the data for that particular information that you need to cater to, alright. So, whenever I talk about the data collection stage, we need to understand that your data that you are collecting, it can be primary or it can be secondary. If I tell you the distinction between the primary and the secondary data, the primary data is the first hand data, whereas the secondary data is the data that is already existing in the market or that is already existing in the sources of the literature. So, as per the problem that you are going to solve, that you intend to solve, you need to take care that whether the problem will be solved by collecting primary data, by taking interviews, by undertaking surveys, or the problem that you have identified is going to be catered by reading the literature that has already been produced on that particular topic. So, that is why this is very, very important, and this will only be based upon one thing: what is the problem or what research problem that is going to be there that you are going to deal in your report. Moving on students, data can be also collected through primary resources or secondary resources. Data collected should of course be up to date, relevant and accurate. I have already mentioned that why these features are very, very important when we talk about data collection. Primary sources can be, students, as you already know, it can be the interview of the individuals who are your respondents. It could be through observation, again a very, very important technique. It could be through surveys, it could be through compiling the statistics, it could be through studying a company, it could be the industry data. Online surveys can be undertaken with the help of several websites. Students, you have a lot of websites like surveyplanet.com. Other than that, you have monkeysurvey.com, then you have quicksurveys.com. These portals are going to help you in the collection of data. They make this process very, very simple, and yes, we are living in the digital world where all this digital support, all these digital tools actually make our data collection very, very easy and very, very quick. And you know what, these surveys also give you the interpretation and the graphical representation of the data that has come from your respondents. So, it makes your task very, very easy, students, and it is you are not only able to collect the data easily, but you are also going to comprehend that data very, very easily. Also, these days you have the support of Google as well as Microsoft. You have Google Drives, you have Sky Drives that are going to support you in data collection, in making forms as well as storing the data for an unlimited time. Moving on, you can also collect secondary data, as I said, as per the requirement of the problem that you are dealing with. Now, under the secondary data, what all you can use? You can use books, you can use journals, you can read various research papers, then you can use a lot of brochures, you can use the thesis that have been done, the research work that has been done on the topic that you are going to talk about. Of course, a very, very important source of data, internet, but please make sure you are taking the data from a very, very authentic website. You can any day use Google Scholar if you are interested in reading a lot of research work that has been done by the giants, the stalwarts in the industry in that particular arena. You can of course look at the newspaper, the reports that have been already made, conference paper, the conference proceedings. You have multiple sources in the times that we are living in. You just have to choose the right source, and you just have to understand that what kind of secondary data is actually relevant to your study. Moving on, students, the information collected can be named as primary data or secondary data as per the data that you have collected as mentioned by me in this slide. Moving on, students, I am coming on to the next stage, which is called organizing stage. Now, students, if I understand logically, I am planning. So, I have gathered the general information that was required, I have collected the data, I have understood my problem, I have thought, I have brainstormed what exactly would be my data requirement, will my problem will be solved by from primary data, or will my problem would be solved from secondary data. Then I am going to move upon organizing my data. Now I have a lot of data, I have a lot of sources, I need to organize my data. That is again going to be very pertinent topic, because a right organizing or a right organization of data is going to help my reader in understanding what I have done. If I put a lot of data on the platter for my reader is not going to understand a word. But if I give a coherent organization of data, my reader is going to understand of what exactly I am going to do. So, when I am organizing the data, students, I can use certain kind of approaches, right. Before I go on to this slide, I need you to be introduced with certain kind of approaches that you can follow while you are organizing your data. Okay. The first approach, a very simple approach, is called chronological approach. Now, as the word chronology suggests, chronology is the order, all right, the order in which things have happened. So, if I talk about the chronological order, I am moving from one point to other point. Now, these points can be based upon location, can be based upon dates, can be based upon the origin, can be based upon the latest to the oldest. So, the oldest to the latest, depending upon the need. So, the first approach I can use, students, in organizing my data is chronological data. The second approach here that I can use is an inductive approach. Students, what is an inductive approach? Whenever I am moving from a particular idea to a generalized notion, because this happened, so this can also happen. So, I am using an inductive approach. Okay. The third approach, students, I can use to organize my data can be deductive approach. Under the deductive approach, I am moving from a very general overview to a particular overview. So, whenever I talk about deductive approach, I am going to move from a bigger arena to a smaller arena. That means, I am deducing something from a generalized thing, I am moving on to the particular thing. So, what am I using? I am using a funnel down approach. How? I am moving from a general overview to a particular overview. So, this is the third approach that you can use whenever you are organizing your data. Now, students, the fourth approach is again a very simple approach. It is called topic based or topical approach. Now, what is a topical approach? I talk about topics in my report. I move from one topic to another topic. Now, for example, if you talk about textbook, right, the approach that has been used is a topical approach. The textbook suggests you, first of all, recruitment, then it tells you the types of recruitment, then it tells you about the techniques of recruitment, then it tells you about selection, right, then it tells you about various types of interviews. So, how we are moving? We are talking about various topics, and then I am catering to the whole understanding of each of the topics. So, in your report you can always and also use the topical or the topic based approach. After that, one approach that is very popular and very helpful is called problem solution approach. Under the problem solution approach, you take care of three things: what is the problem, what is going to be the solution, what is going to be the outcome. Okay. If the problem has already happened, so what will you talk about? What has been the problem, what was the action that was undertaken to solve that particular problem, and what is the result of the action that is being undertaken. Alright. So, under problem solution approach, you are going to talk about these three most important things that I just told you. Another approach that you can use is the pros and cons approach. Again, this approach is going to help you in organizing your data in the form of advantages and disadvantages. Other than this, students, you can always and also use a query based approach. Query based approach will organize your data in 5 W's and 1 H, alright. So, you will talk about what, where, when, why, who and how. So, you are answering the 5 W's and 1 H while you are organizing your data, and then you can also organize your data in the ideal reality approach. What is ideal reality approach, students? the reality of the corporate and the vision to which the corporate wants to reach. So, for turning from reality to the vision you want to achieve, you have to undertake certain steps. So, while you are comprehending and compiling your report based upon this approach, that is the ideal and the reality approach. So, out of all the approaches students in organizing the data, out of all these 9 approaches, you can use any of the approach based upon the research problem or the topic that you are dealing with. But always remember one of the pro tip here, do not impose any approach on data organization which is not comprehending or which is not in coherence with the problem that you are talking about. That because I like the ideal reality approach, so let me put ideal reality approach on this, whether or not it is matching, right. Maybe aapki problem ke liye the topical approach would have been much better, but no, because you like the ideal reality approach, so you are using that. Never do that, because then you lose the very essence of the report. Under organizing the report, students, what are we under the organizing stage, what exactly we are doing? We are giving a structure to the brainstormed ideas that are covered in the report. The ideas have been brainstormed. We have written the ideas, we have the basic information, we have the primary data. What am I doing in the organizing stage? I am structuring it, right. I am providing a structure to it. I am going to mention that okay, I am using the topical approach. This is my first topic and these are the subsections of my first topic. This is my second topic and these are the subsections of my second topic. This is the third topic that I want to cater to and these are the subsections. I hope you are understanding that how exactly do we organize, how exactly is the organizing stage very paramount in all the stages. Then students, as I just told you, you are going to create the main topic, you are going to create the subtopic, right. We are going to arrange the topics and the subtopics in a very coherent and a logical manner. As I just told you that the only bridge between confusion and clarity is communication. If you communicate well by a good arrangement which is coherent, the whole of the problem of the reader is going to be solved. The reader is going to find the report very effective and very comprehending. The reader will be able to comprehend what you have provided to the reader well. Okay. So, you have to add appropriate introduction and conclusion, because again this is the beginning and the end, very important. You have to understand the flow of the presentation. You have to understand that are you going to use a chronological approach or the inductive approach, the deductive approach, the topic based approach, problem or solution based approach, pros and cons based approach, location based approach, query based approach or ideal reality based approach, depending upon the topic that you are catering. Alright. Moving on to the fourth stage, students, I am moving on to the first draft stage. Now students, you have planned, you have gathered the data, you have organized the data. Now since you have certain kind of requirements with you, you start writing, you make the first draft. Alright. Now what is the first draft? The first draft is when you exactly pick up your pen and paper and you draft your report which is required by the reader. Alright. Under first draft, students, you can again divide this first draft part into 3 sections: the opening section, the middle section and the closing section. If you remember my previous lecture, now I am putting everything that I have gathered into the parts of the report, right, the prefatory part, the main or the body part and the appended part. Alright. Now this in the first draft, let us understand. After the organizing stage, the report is drafted. The most important parameter in this stage is establishing a logical flow. Students, logical flow in business communication is called coherence. Alright. This logical flow is very important. Ensuring having evidence to support whatever you are writing in the report is paramount, it is salient. Following are the main section, the opening describing the preliminary information that the readers require to know to understand the report, the circumstances due to which the report is being written, why is the report being written, what problem the report is going to be solving, what exactly is the work done previously in this particular arena, Then you have the middle part. The middle part will have a logical relationship drawn to help the readers to understand the logical relationship among various topics. Logic, again and again the word logic is being written because coherence in business communication is very, very important. Focus on making the message audience centric, reader centric. Topics are to be structured in a manner that readers accept the topic and act upon the topic. Then you close the report. By closing, you tell what is the conclusion, what is going to be the next step, what is going to be the further assistance. Then the last stage, students, is checking and redrafting. Under checking and redrafting, you need to understand two major things. One is improving upon the substantive feature of the report, and second, improving upon the surface feature of the report. Now, what is substantive feature, students? Does my report work upon the area that has been given to me? Does my segments overlap? Is my report extremely coherent? So, all these features which will relate to the content that is given in the report are called substantive feature. So, under checking and redrafting, you need to take care that your substantive feature, that means the content in your report, is appropriate. Then, if I talk about the surface features, that means the grammar, the coherence, the logic, the segmentation, the topic wise things are coherent. Students, you can use different visual aids in order to make your reports very, very effective. These are visual aids. This is a bar graph which is used in order to give relative comparison. This is again a multiple bar graph. This is used to tell you about the change over time. This is a pie chart which is going to tell you about the overall portion of a particular thing, the divisions. And this is what? This is an area graph which is going to help you to understand the change that has been made over time or the overall trend. Always use visual aids so that your report is very, very effective. So, that is all for today. Thank you very much.